What's going on, guys? Good morning, grab your coffee, and let's get started. Remember commuting? That thing you used to do where you got in a car, half asleep, turn on the radio, and then drive 40 minutes to your company's parking lot, and then do the same thing in reverse 8 hours later? Well, during the pandemic, the word commute has become outdated. In the spring, the remote work revolution sent tens of millions of Americans out of their cubicles and into their living rooms, significantly reducing the number of people traveling to offices each day. And that's probably not going to change in the near term. According to a Conference Board survey, only 28% of US employees expect to return to their workspaces at the beginning of next year. Now, forgive my unsophisticated language here, but that shit is crazy. So let's talk about the effects of drastically lower level of commuting. So back in the olden days, commutes were getting longer. The average US commute grew to a record 27 minutes in 2018, meaning the average American was spending more than 9 full calendar days traveling to and from work. So how were they doing it? An estimated 73.6% drive by themselves in a private car. And despite how crowded public transit may seem during rush hour, transit only accounted for a tiny share of commutes. In fact, more people worked from home than took the public transport to work. And this is before the pandemic hit. Commuting is costly. Just off the top of my head, expenses include gas, wear and tear on your car, possible tolls and parking fees, but commuting has other costs too. Now, unless you have a Tesla, your car is a grade A carbon emitter. Studies show that mental health also suffers when you sit in traffic. And what about the most precious commodity of all? Your time. What could you be doing with those extra 27 minutes if you weren't focusing on the road? Well, you don't have to guess, because the pandemic has revealed what happens when fewer than a third of employees are going into the office. And so far, we've learned a few things. First off, the savings are real. Upwork found that $758 million are saved each day when former car commuters switched to remote work. That's led to a total savings of over $100 billion since the pandemic began. And secondly, media consumption is changing. For example, public radio giant NPR said that it lost over 25% of its audience compared to last year. And lastly, cars will gain at transit's expense. More than 60% of respondents to a Cars.com survey said that they plan on using a car instead of a public transport when they resume commuting back to the office. That's simply because cars are viewed as a safer option in these pandemic times. Despite investments into metro cleaning and studies that show that fears of a viral spread in public transit is unwarranted. And these are just the direct implications. I can't help but wonder about the second or third order implications of a commuting decline. For example, what does a drop in toll revenues mean for future infrastructure investments? Or what does extra 30 minutes of sleep mean for worker productivity? And these are just many things that we don't know yet. Like, for example, what about environmental impact and exactly how fewer people are actually on the road every morning? Looking ahead, it might be an interesting activity for those of you who aren't commuting anymore to reflect on your new routine. For example, are you sleeping more? Have you begun to work out in the morning? Maybe a walk around the block before you log into work? Leave a comment below and let me know. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Arif, and this is Morning Coffee.